No, they can't.
Between all, we're good to go.
All right. We'll call the highway meeting to order for January 7th at 8:22. Roll call, everyone is present. Minutes for the December 10th.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
What's been made second. Any additions, corrections? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Public comment?
None.
Nothing from me. On to staff reports.
You can look it up, Brent.
Well, obviously, I think you guys know you guys live in the same county as we do, that we had a very busy December. We were out 22 days, either plowing or putting material down. In those 22 days, we put down on the state side 2,977 tons of salt, 4,471 ton of salt sand on the county. The county also used 296.5 ton of county salt. And our state brine on our state roads, we put down 50,912 gallons of brine. County brine on our county roads was 17,801. And an additive that we add in pretty much on our state roads just to help with the ice and it helps melt it quicker. It's called bead heat. That was 12,835 gallons.
You're advertising for them right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I am. I love this hat. Yeah, they're a nice hat. Got a liner in it for him. Dustin says I think I wear it from probably September to
It's good.
March, April maybe. No, and I do want to say is, I mean, I heard the end of that meeting too, is we've had some very sketchy freezing rains. We've had a lot of ice. Our guys I think they've done a great job of keeping the trucks on the road. Yesterday morning, there was about an hour stretch that it was very, 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 very sketchy, that freezing rain, but the guys did a great job. We did end up going out a little bit earlier yesterday. So due to the freezing rain and trying to stay ahead of it. I think, I don't know, we haven't really had any issues as far as that. And with all the cold weather, rain, we're getting a lot of potholes on our ramps for sure. Yesterday we went out and just on the one ramp, we put down 2 loads with our patch buggies, and we also have a patch truck too that hold like about a half ton. We put that all on one ramp on the 45 eastbound on. This morning they're gonna go work on the 45 westbound on. We also did some of the 45 westbound off yesterday. So we're gonna be busy with those. All those potholes, I'm hoping we can do some sort of fix, like maybe a spray patch if we can get some decent weather.
So isn't that kind of early for potholes?
Well, we don't usually get this type of weather
That's true too.
till March,
Yeah.
and we are getting it now in January and December, which is weird.
Yep.
It's abnormal. But we are definitely not out looking for trees to cut. So, which is a good change from the last 2 years too,
Mhm.
except for it doesn't help our budget very well, I don't think. But other than that, I do want to say that, yeah, the guys have been in on the weekends. They've been doing a great job. So
I'll give
So
you-
that,
Go ahead.
with that many days, like 26 days,
22, yeah.
is there a lot of like overtime then? Because sometimes they gotta, like work,
There's some.
like, like Saturdays and Sundays when they normally would have off.
Yeah, there's some. There's in December I think there's only 17 regular work days with the holidays and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, there were, and definitely a lot of those days. And we still got a project up by Sand Creek. We had County Road I that we did some brushing, so
Mhm.
somehow we still got that done. So, but no, we've they did get some overtime, so they some good overtime for the holidays.
I'll give you props because I had a bunch of family members come down for New Year's Day at our place, and two different people came from Chippewa County, and they said they came from Chippewa County and they got to Dunn County and the roads are really good.
Yeah,
I was like, well, that's good to hear. So I've noticed myself, it seems like, I mean, B is always a complete pain in the butt, but
it is a
I
pain in
mean,
the
it
butt.
seems like all the other roads, I mean, and this one's good. It's not much you can do, but
Yeah, when the wind blows out there, you can't hardly do anything.
everything else, that's as well. So kudos to you guys. And
On the other hand, there are days we get phone calls with some negatives. And I
Yeah.
try to tell them I'm like, we are the best. So tell me we're bad, I'll tell you we're the best.
Well,
No, the guys do a good job.
I have a similar story. I mean, I travel into county to the west of us here and hit the county line and significantly different. You know, it's in favor of us, much better. And just, they've done some ditch work lately, the snow's off the shoulder, you know what I mean? It's out in the ditch and it's just better.
No, it's and you know what? We do when we run into other counties, different timelines. You can't be everywhere at once, but yes, there are times that other counties look better than ours too, and that's just the nature of the game, and that's just how it works. But all in all, yes, we had a busy and expensive December, but thank God we kept the rubber on the right side of the road. So other than that, you guys have any other questions?
no, well, I guess one beyond B there. Is that something where I know a lot of times if you put salt down, it obviously the snow will adhere to it. That's almost
It will.
worse. Does it do the same if you try and put sand down?
It will do it. There are some times when it gets really cold, like that real cold stretch we had. We're like, we gotta go sand because it's not doing any good anyways. Put salt out, it wasn't working. So yeah, there are times that even on the state roads, we do use sand.
Okay.
Like there was a time on the interstate one time, he'd run out, he'd put salt down. Half hour later, they were calling back. And I said, he's still out there. He's out there. And I finally told him, I said, put a 50-50 mix in.
Mhm.
He went out there and don't ask me why. Never got a phone call again. Sometimes sand will, but you put sand out there is, you will have, there's always more fines, more rocks in there.
Yeah.
More chance of damage to windshield at times, but
Well, when that gets so packed down, it's almost glare ice from the
Yes.
pack. That's why I was curious if putting some sand on there would help because
it does.
you travel up down there and people are crawling and they're in the ditch and
Yeah.
there's a couple times the wind was actually sliding my
Right.
vehicle
Yep.
a little bit. I'm like,
The streets
and
of
sometimes
town, the
it's-
same thing happened. They just got
Yeah.
glare ice. It's like, we.
So how many
sand in town or?
piles that you have of sand, because like out in the townships, that what, 14%?
You mean what percent of salt is in it?
Salt in there.
5% is
But you
what.
must have a different one that you can go for the county or for the state in. You said you had one that was 50-50.
Oh, sometimes we just load it that
Oh,
way.
I see.
We load it with our loader that way.
Okay.
So, and we had a guy that used to run 50-50 mix on D all the time. And they go back and forth with that, whatever's working the best.
Okay.
But it's, every storm is different. So, but other than that, yeah, we're keeping busy. We're keeping Dan busy too.
Experience pays off when you have the same truck driver.
And it's, for the most part, we got, and even our new guys, we had a new guy start and he's been out doing some training with some of the guys, and even our newer guys have done a really good job too. you know, and it's been a little tricky. I mean, we got a little bit of, sure we'll have some sod to repair, you know, when they were doing some laying. The shoulders are a little soft. We do have some of that to repair in some areas. Some newer guys, you know, trying to get things figured out, and found out they'll be going out doing some raking in the spring, but
I got the same problem out on spent manure. Either it's so icy I can't go, or I go right down to the dirt. So I got nothing in between. It just,
right. Yeah, there's out there in the fields,
there's no frost. No.
No, where in snow, there really isn't
Yeah.
any. Crazy.
Other than that, looks like another busy weekend at times. So
Looks like.
I'll let Danny go.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, our new shop employee started, Josh Branswell, he started on the January 5th. And Brent's new employee,
Same day.
Chase Rugland, started the same day. So it's nice, we've got full staff again now. And we did bring in, one of the new triaxles to start on that now. We finally got all the power equipment and stuff pretty well on and caught up, and it'll help now with Josh here. So we can get working on that. One of the 2026 international trucks that we had ordered last year for 2026 has arrived. It's over in, I think it's soon to be in Eau Claire. It's at one of their other locations. I did call Greg down at Universal and about some other things, and I just happened to ask him. And I told him it was in, and they were talking 400 and some days when we first did that, but he was thinking that there's a very good possibility that we can get it in mid-October. So that would, if that's the case, we probably will have it for next winter. So that's a real plus.
Yes.
Like Brenda said, the trucks were out a lot in December. To be honest with you, they did a great job. The trucks they had breakdowns, but nothing, more positive than negatives, and that's a great thing. And then I put together a little breakdown here for you guys, thought me kind of some information on what gallons of fuel that we've used over the year. And if you look at the top there, I kind of got the green in the top right there. We used over 20,000 gallons in December this year. Last year it was 11,000 gallons. So that kind of gives you an idea that how far, and that anywhere getting close to it in 2022, which was a bad winter, there's 22,000 gallons. And the fuel is around $3 a gallon, so that's 60,000 in fuel alone. And then I broke it down in the bottom here for the winters. 2020, 23, and 2023, 24, and 24, 25, and 25, 26. You can see we're halfway through 25 and 26, and we're already at almost half of what the most. So it's going to be, if it keeps going in the pace that it is, it's going to be expensive.
At least the fuel's coming down cheaper.
Fuel prices cheap.
So
Yeah.
versus 22, I'm guessing that 22,000 is at 4 something a gallon.
No doubt. It could have been. I could look and see if you wanted,
Well,
I just went on the gallons on it.
Probably.
What is kind of unique, if you look at the total yearly, they're all pretty close except 23, we were over a little bit, but they're all at about 142,000, which surprised me too when I did it. That they ended up that close.
So do we get like most of our fuel from like this energy, or does it vary?
No, it varies. We put it out on bids, with different companies that we have.
Is it for like 1 month or 2 months or whole?
Every time we get fuel.
Oh, okay,
I shouldn't say that here. Every time we get fuel here, we put it out on bids.
okay.
And there's about 4 different companies that give us a quote on it, and then we look at the lowest quote and then get them to bring it. We just got a load again yesterday. But out in the field, we have Sin Energy
Okay.
that goes around and keeps our tanks full out in the field.
Out in the country.
Yeah. And that's kind of the set price they get. Of course, it's more money because of the delivery.
Yeah.
But at least they're full all the time. So,
Do they have that remote thing on there where they can just,
yeah, it's on and they can,
Keep Phil.
yeah, they can look at their computer
and it's just gonna. See,
So how big a tanks do you guys have out here? Because you gotta know, well, I'm getting down like a quarter of time to maybe refill.
yeah, the ones that are here are 12,000 gallons, 12,000 gallons of diesel fuel, and there's 12,000 gallons of gas. And then you can only fill them to about 80%. So really the most we can put in them is 10,000 gallons. And of course,
Okay.
there's two couple measuring gauges on it. There's one electronic one and one old clock one, so you know how much is in. And then you just have to figure out how much more you can put in. The last load that we got a mixed blend put in of 1,000 clear diesel of number one, and then 3,000 of number two. So, we got blended, and then it was 4,000 gallons of gas. And these are numbers here too are all diesel.
Yeah.
Gas, because we don't really, the pickups are the only thing we put gas in. And that's the same pretty much whether.
Yeah.
And it's not a lot. It's usually around 1,000 gallons a month. Another thing I didn't want to bring up that we have an issue with one of our graders, the number 55. Towards the end of the year last year, the transmission started giving us some issues. And we took it over to Eau Claire to see what they thought, and they really didn't come up with a really good idea of what it was. And they were leaning towards replacing the transmission, which is very expensive. So just so you guys are aware that we may have a pretty big repair bill on that grader. They were talking around 35,000 for the transmission. But I want to get it in. We're going to try to get it in here next week. One of the mechanics and look it over ourselves just to make sure before we do anything. So that's kind of a down thing on our list here.
How old is that one?
It's 2007. That's one that we brought back from New Mexico. We brought back two of them in 2015. But we bought two graders for what we couldn't buy one for. At the time, we didn't have the budget. We needed a couple graders replaced. And they were less free when we got them back. So they're really nice graders. But now they're, that was 2015, so that's 10 years ago.
10 years.
The graders are getting their age too. So that's something I might have to look at in the future, maybe replacing one. But it's tough right now with the cost of the plow trucks. They have anything available to buy any equipment. And that's what really hurts. And it's only going to get worse in the future. But yeah, anyway, like I said, the trucks, and they're newer trucks, and my experience with all the years here, it's way better to have the newer trucks than it is the cost effective. All the way around.
Keep them on the road that way.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think our oldest triaxle is 10 years old. Of course, besides the max, yeah, we don't. Those are our demolition trucks.
They still work.
They work. Yeah. They did from the start. No emissions on them, which is kind of gas. So anyway, that's about all I've got, I guess, unless you guys have any questions. Thanks.
So how long are your patrolmen's out? Because they gotta go up and down. Is everything about the same time wise?
As far as their beach,
Each route,
Well, yeah, each route about the
each route
same.
is on average, it takes about 3 hours to get around.
Oh, okay.
It all depends on the storm, but on average, it's 3 hours around.
Okay.
So,
Well, that big storm there was when I came out to D, that was actually D looked better than 25, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Somebody had been through there.
right.
So I was surprised because it's 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever, or 3.
And like on the interstate, if we have a lot of snow, if it's a heavy snow, like yesterday, with freezing rain, we threw an extra guy out there.
Okay.
We usually have two. They take one takes each half, and let's stay on the rain, stay ahead of the ice. So I threw an extra guy out there. Yeah, I think we have 10 state guys on all our state roads, which some days is light. I think some of those beats are fairly long, those routes. No, but yeah, for everybody, pretty much every route is on average 3 hours.
And the ones that we use at night, those 3 trucks, you know, they never shut off. They come in the shop here and new guys jump in and fill them to the field and there they go. So,
We go anywhere from 3 to 5 guys, depends on the event.
so they get a workout. And like I said, the trucks really did a great job. So that's good.
All right.
And the mechanics did a good job too, getting,
Yeah, see that.
you know, when we had the breakdowns, there were some, you know, moments that you really want those trucks back, and they did a good job getting them back right away too. Those live bottom plows out on live bottom trucks. We had 2 of them had the same thing go wrong with them, and they got them back pretty quick.
So now when you get this brand new truck in like December for next, if it, you know, gets all done, the plows and that, you have one you're gonna trade off then to make up for it or not?
We do have a plan for down the road for what
Okay.
trucks we're gonna get rid of. We
Okay.
were talking
We
about
typically
that.
try to get rid of our oldest trucks.
Yeah.
Comes in one.
The 2 of those trucks that we are gonna get with these 3 that we are purchasing now are gonna go with the live bottoms out to the interstate. Cause we've got 2 of them that are getting fairly old. And we wanna replace them with, you know, of course, with new trucks, so that will help out too. And then we can take the other 2 trucks and place them in spots that are, you know, need them too. Then like Dustin said, we sell the oldest ones, because those are the ones that nickel and dime,
Yeah.
you know, they're constantly something. It'd be nice when we get them. But we will.
Ready? Sounds good.
Well, good. Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
No, thank you.
Yep. Have a good one. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
So I'll go into the engineering project updates. Obviously, there's not a whole lot going on right now with our projects, since they'll be taking place this summer. The staff are preparing our proposals, project proposals for materials. We're updating project cost estimates, and Brittany's working on some DNR permits for these projects. And then we're also looking at doing some surveys for the upcoming 2026 project and construction maintenance projects. The Boyceville salt shed, I talked to the contractor yesterday. They were planning on coming in next week. They pushed it off a week, looking at right around the 19th now. They had a project delayed, so they're coming in the 19th to put that salt shed up. So good for them, I guess. General transportation aid, I just wanted to give you an update on that. So obviously I mentioned from previous meeting that our GTA calculation was incorrect. So the revised GTA amount was presented to us here in December. And as you can see, it went down approximately, I believe it was $128,000 from that error. So what was presented to the Department of Revenue with our 2 funds that we have, there was an error with a number that shouldn't have been on a particular line item. It should have been to a different line item, and it actually increased our costs. But like I said, that was revised. As you can see, the 2025 GTA amount was 1.7 roughly, in 2026 it went up to almost 1.9, 1.875. So we are going to be making adjustments. Obviously, what was presented and approved in the budget was for that error amount, the higher amount. So we will be making adjustments to reduce our maintenance costs by that 128,000 for the material
You
costs.
wanna just, as we talk about making adjustments for that, that's something that we budgeted a higher revenue and we budgeted higher expenses, so it won't be a budget amendment or adjustment that comes through. It's really just gonna be about Dustin managing that amount of money, knowing that you're not gonna hit that revenue level. So
Makes my life easy.
Yeah, that's what we try to do.
Dan said it was okay. But yeah, I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. The highway administrative rates, so this has been a discussion we've had between Joy and I for a number of years now. So obviously we have administrative rates, so like my wages, anything that's non-billable. Buildings, grounds, heat, light, all that stuff, it has a cost. So we are looking at those administrative rates to make sure that we are covering these costs and we're not taking a loss at the end of the year. So I just want to kind of present to you there was a survey that was done to all 72 counties. It just kind of shows what administrative rates are charged. So there's many different ways you can do it. So obviously the DOT allows a certain administrative rate to be charged to them. So they take a statewide average and that is the percentage that we can charge the state. We can do our own thing. We can charge ourselves the administrative rate. We don't have to charge it. We can do either one. We can charge the towns, municipalities, or we may not have to. So currently we charge an administrative rate to the state, obviously, and to ourselves for the work that we complete. Not charging the municipalities for administrative rates. So anytime we do work for a town project, we're not charging them at administrative rate directly. We kind of adjusted a small tool rate to kind of include that. But that's not the proper way of doing it financially. So we're just looking at this currently. So Joy's going to run some numbers to see where we sit with our administrative rates here in 2025 and see if we have to make some adjustments. At the end of the day, if we come up with that we need to charge a 1% more than what the statewide average is to account for these costs, we have that ability to do that. And obviously this would all be presented to you guys, but we just wanted you to be aware of what's going on. As you can kind of see, a lot of them charge administrative rates for everything they do. That's the norm. So they charge the state, themselves, and municipalities. So that's the typical norm. So like I said, I just wanted to present that to you so you guys understand that there possibly may be some changes forthcoming that could affect us as well as municipalities. So just be aware of that. Because at the end of the day, it typically comes back to you guys when people have questions and concerns. So like I said, we just want to recoup our administrative costs so we're not basically having a loss at the end of the year. So any questions with that?
The main thing that affects is the other municipalities, like townships.
Yeah, like I said, currently we're charging
We're charging
the county as the state, statewide average.
So internally, it isn't really gonna affect this per se,
Correct.
but other municipalities like other townships that would. So right now, they're not getting that on there, just get a small tool rate.
So we charge them a small tool rate, which on average is like right around 1.8%. So we add the 4.36 plus the 1.8 into their small tool rate.
Oh,
So
okay.
the small tool rate is only on labor and equipment, not materials.
Right.
So if you separate that, the administrative rate would be on all three, labor, equipment, and materials. So that's where it gets a little bit, there'd be increased administrative costs if we do a paving project per se, where you got $100,000 worth of materials. So that, like I said, can affect the overall cost to the municipalities.
And that would get an administrative fee then instead of even the material.
Correct.
And right now, we're not doing that.
We are currently not doing that. But like I said, I wanted to present this. Majority of the counties are doing that.
Mhm.
So I'm not saying we have to follow suit, but I just want to make sure we're trying to cover these costs the best we can.
And I know
That's the biggest thing.
And I know the townships do not like administrative fees, but it is a fact that that's what it costs.
Correct.
So, okay.
So. Any questions, concerns? Like I said, more information to come on that. Like I said, we're gonna run some numbers and make sure if there are gonna be changes, they're justifiable changes.
Sounds good.
Moving on in the agenda, I just wanted to present to you kind of, obviously, we're gonna have that discussion again this year, with the possible building addition here to house our equipment under a roof, as well as a wash bay. I know we did table that, obviously. So we will probably have that discussion again this year at some point in time. So I just wanted to kind of present to you, mind you, this was AI driven. So I asked AI to kind of prepare this to the best of their ability and what we kind of have for our, known amounts as well. So I put together the cost difference between a piece of equipment valued at approximately $350,000 over a 10-year lifespan, which is your average plow truck. Your average plow truck is about $350,000. Now you add graders, you add tractors, you add all this stuff. It doesn't take long to get a $350,000 piece of equipment sitting outside. So as you can see, when I did run these numbers through ChatGTP, is what I did is they basically came up with approximately about $140,000 in the lifespan. I adjusted some of that based on kind of what our actual numbers are. It's very, very hard to do this because we have equipment that sat outside from the beginning of time. So as soon as we purchase it, it sits outside. Well, then we have equipment that never sits outside. So it's hard for me to compare something that has sat inside for a period of time and then all of a sudden sat outside. So it's very, very difficult to do this. The biggest takeaway that I want to say is obviously the depreciation value. So if you can maintain that truck, it looks better, it's nicer, you're going to get more value in the end.
Mhm.
That's the bottom dollar. I'm not saying that there's going to be some cost by storing it inside, but obviously if you had the ability to keep these trucks clean, I'm going to really, really push for a wash bay. That's going to be my big push is, like I said, we need, if we can keep these vehicles clean, get the salt and the debris out of the frame and all this stuff, like I said, instead of using a garden hose. I mean, that's what we're using to keep these trucks clean. And a lot of times we can't even get pressure because you've got 10 trucks sitting in here and then all 10 guys are using garden hose and it's like, this doesn't work. So like I said, I kind of reduced this to kind of make it more realistic. So if you kind of say over a 10-year lifespan, we're saving $90,000. And majority of that is the depreciation and what I would consider the downtime, not being able to utilize it. So the truck breaks down or sitting in the shop, there's a cost to that. We can't charge it out. So as you can kind of see, if you take $9,000 per vehicle per year, and I estimate approximately 40 vehicles. This other sheet that I provided that's highlighted in pink, this is all the equipment that sits outside. So if you add all that up, there's approximately 90 some pieces of equipment that sit outside all the time, never come indoors. A lot of this is small equipment. I mean, you got pickup trucks, you got patch wagons, you got stuff like that. But majority of the big ticket items is we got plow trucks, we got graders, we got dozers, we got backhoes. All that sits outside. And that's, like I said, some of that is common. You typically see backhoes sitting outside in the construction world. Not to say we couldn't have under a lean-to or something, just to keep the sun off of it and stuff like that from hoses basically wearing out. So like I said, if you take $9,000 per year That's that 90,000 over a 10-year lifespan. If you divide that by obviously every year, so it's about $9,000 a year in cost savings. Basically, you're saving about $360,000 a year to have that vehicle indoors versus outdoors on 40 pieces of equipment. I believe that's realistic. If you look over a 20 or 30-year lifespan, you're looking at 10 million, almost $11 million in 30 years, what you'd be saving. So I just want to kind of put that into perspective of how would that compare to a cost of a building? So if you look at on that bottom of that page, you look at about a 50,000 square foot facility, and I'm just throwing out 150,000 or $150 a square foot. You're looking at about $7.5 million. The upfront initial cost to build that building. Put heat and lights, general maintenance, insurance, all that. In year one, you're looking at about $7.5 million, or roughly about $7.6 million in year one just to build that building. And then if you kind of compare that, if you look over 20 to 30 years, you kind of basically break even there in 30 years. So the lifespan of the building is, they say, is about 75 years. For a steel building, obviously, if we would be looking at a precast concrete building, you'd be looking at, I would probably say about that $13 million for that same size facility. So trying to kind of put it into perspective there. Obviously, it does have an advantage of if park equipment under the roof. And there is a cost savings to do that. But looking at it is, like I said, I think if you can get it under a roof, but the biggest thing is trying to keep these trucks clean, maintained. That is going to be my biggest push.
Well, can I say something?
Yeah.
So, well, I completely agree with that. We need to keep them clean, and even the wash bay. I mean, I think it'd be a good idea to have it so you can get a couple trucks in there.
Yep.
I mean, a couple different ones going. Whether we build the shop, wash bay, all that stuff, I still feel like one of those salt shed type buildings would be great for dozers, backhoes, stuff that we don't use all the time that just gets parked for the winter to keep it under there. Because absolutely the sun, the snow, this rain and stuff, freezing rain and stuff, getting all over that is extremely hard on the equipment. So even if it's not heated, just having the white top allows the sun to come in, and it is substantially warmer inside one of those and out of the wind. So I mean, if you did have to go get a backhoe started up and it's 10 degrees out, it's gonna be warmer in there.
Yep.
So whether they can be in one of these buildings, I'm not saying I'm not against building that. I'm just saying I think that's a very economical way, because the buildings now will last 20 plus years. And at the worst, you would have to put a new tarp on it. And then at least their equipment's sitting in there. And if you want to park trucks in the middle of it, you can do that too.
Yep.
But
Absolutely.
yes, I definitely agree. They'll definitely last longer. First-hand experience.
It's just common sense of it. Anything that's inside in this climate has got a better chance. So
We all want it heated, obviously, but I'm saying if
What I would say is the big concern with possibly a non-heated facility is if we have to put our plow trucks in there, that's where it's going to be an issue. What I would say is majority of these counties, it's a semi-heated facility, so it's 45 degrees. They don't turn it to office setting temperatures. So obviously your insulation's thinner, your radiant heat is different. So you might put in modine heaters instead of in-floor heat to be cost savings.
What I'm saying in addition to with this building, I'm saying like I would definitely want the trucks and everything in a semi-heated facility. I'm just saying, like, if you had some trucks that weren't getting used all back, you could also
Correct.
get parked in there too, but the main trucks definitely should be in
You do
Either
a
facility.
smaller steel building and then have external.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if we can get it through to where we can have all our main stuff and at least get all our trucks in a facility like that, if we can't get the whole thing through.
So-
And then,
So the original estimate that was prepared, that design basically had obviously the facility, and then on one side of the building, it had a lean-to along the entire stretch. That cost alone just for that lean-to was about $1 million. And that's where you could park like
Mhm.
your backhoes, your dozers, just to get it out of the element.
Mhm.
And it would be similar to what you're kind of talking like, is just trying to get. Cause I do know,
well, yes and no, because that wouldn't be, it would be covered, but it wouldn't still be out of the wind and stuff like that. So
yes,
the temperature will actually be warmer in a building like I'm talking.
I do know, and we can probably prove it. Our White House that's uninsulated, if you go in there, it's actually colder.
Yeah.
In
Correct.
there
Oh, yeah.
than it is outside,
That's
Yeah.
steel,
but it doesn't have the wind.
that's steel.
Yep.
If you have a tarp shed, the light will actually get in and it'll actually.
Yep.
Create somewhat of a,
Kind of like a greenhouse.
in a way, yeah, not to that, but I'm saying those are actually warmer. Yes, that steel building is colder. You are correct.
Yep.
And it feels colder in there, but.
Mhm.
And I'm not against the shop, no. Like, or building that, I'm just saying, like backhoes and stuff, backhoes, dozers, stuff like that. One of those buildings would be less than $1 million. And should be considerably less than $1 million to put something up like that. And I would rather see the backhoes, dozers, equipment like that in something like that than even under the lean-to, because wind can whip through there and snow and stuff, depends on which way the snow's going, it's still coming in there. Or building like that's enclosed, so don't think I'm against building the shop.
The one thing that we may have to look at, if that's something we explore, is I don't know on a fire rating, parking equipment in a facility like that, I don't know how that works. That'd be something we'd have to explore. I know a lot of people park equipment in there, but should they be parking equipment in there? I don't know.
Mhm.
So typically those sheds are built for materials, not necessarily equipment, but like I said, people do.
Yeah.
I know if you ever go like towards Eau Claire by North Crossing and 12, that come in there, that big fertilizer place.
Mhm.
That's kind of a similar situation where they have, it's kind of like a hoop style.
Okay.
But it's not a tarp. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It almost looks like metal, plastic, something for a roof style, but yeah, that's something we can definitely look into, but I have not looked at what fire protection rating, if that's allowed or not.
Well, I'm honestly just trying to get this through because I want to see it happen, so. I'm not trying
In
to
a
buck
cost-
the
in
system,
cost
I'm trying to get it as cost effective as we can and still serve a purpose without.
And that's why we're looking at a steel frame instead of what we looked at originally and, to keep that cost down. I mean,
And
instead of a precast one.
And I mean, I would anticipate, obviously, those numbers that we presented last year. I would, based on the information that I've presented from the consultant, is that would be going up approximately 5%. From the numbers that were presented last year.
I think this sounds just a lot more doable than what we originally were with that precast building and all that other stuff. But
Yep.
So how big of a shed would you actually need to get all this equipment? Yeah.
So originally, what was presented, there was three options. It was, I believe it was 30,000, 50,000, and 70,000.
Okay.
At that time, we presented, to the board was the 70,000, the largest.
Okay.
That had enough space and then some for future expansion. I think just to be more cost effective of what we need and I think that 50,000 square foot facility would work. I did go over to Eau Claire County, 2 weeks ago to see they have a cold storage building. That was 30,000 square feet where they park all of their non-essential plow truck equipment. They point blank said it's not big.
Well, as I've heard too, it's when they say that you can never build it big and when you build it small, well, I don't get it, well. 5 years down the road, all of a sudden, that's too small for what we want to put in it.
Correct.
So overall, there's another component that we had talked about, getting highway equipment out of the white
Yeah, with the sheriff
shed
department.
so that the sheriff's department can
Take that over.
can take that over for more expense. So
And
And like,
then too, you got that building down by the fairgrounds across the road that doesn't really do a lot, does it? You get some stuff in there, but,
We
Not
park a lot of our stuff in there in the winter months.
okay.
The stuff that
and that's not heated at all.
that's not needed.
No,
Well, and it's hauling everything down there. I mean, it doesn't fit that much and you gotta haul every piece of equipment out.
And it always, every year, it's the piece of equipment we need in an emergency is parked in the back.
how's that work?
You think we'd figure it out sooner or later,
the
but
sheriff uses that space as those facilities and there.
And the other thing is if we start with that 50,000, if you do outgrow that, we could just put strictly a cold storage up for XYZ equipment too, eventually if we had to. But we have to have something to start with. You
Oh,
know,
absolutely. No,
that would, it might be too big to put everything in there, but in 5 years, we'll probably have to add on to a cold storage too. I mean, you never know. To get everything back.
yeah, I was just trying to think
Yeah.
of an economical way to
Yeah.
get storage,
I
not.
hate to downsize this one and then 5 years. we
No, I
don't
don't,
have
I
it.
don't think we should honestly, but I think in,
But this would be the first step, I think, is to get at least that building going. And then, and the wash bay, obviously, because I think that's the key to keeping all this equipment 100% more usable and like, lifespan.
And then too, if you do build a building like that, maybe put a couple side doors in, so if something you do want, well, it's not way on the end, you just go in the side door to get it out too.
Because keeping all of our snow trucks in this building over here is just
no,
crazy stupid.
well, it's completely packed.
So I
and
mean, we need
It's harder to
something.
get in and out of there.
If we could get something like this started, which I think is fairly economical, versus that 16 million that we're looking at. So, and we can do this in stages, just do that, or that or the truck wash and bay separate or whatever,
yeah, correct.
you know. We need both, but I mean, if we have to, we have to do.
I think the bigger need, in my opinion, is the wash bay.
Mhm.
Currently, I think
I
that
would
is
agree.
the biggest need we have.
Mhm.
In talking to Eau Claire and St. Croix and Polk, they all have automatic wash bays. I think that's the best approach to do it. If you can get that truck in there, washed in 5 minutes, out back, I mean, there's gonna be cost savings just that. I mean, we're instead of charging the employees taking 1 to 2 hours to wash these trucks. I mean, there's gonna be a cost savings there.
You can't,
Um,
you can't stand in line for 3 hours to wash a car. You got in a truck. I mean, 5 minutes in and out, everybody can wash their truck at the end of the day, or most people can. Versus if you have to hand wash it, you're only gonna get a couple done a day because there's just not enough time permitted. Unless you have a,
So-
eight truck bay
Yeah.
hand wash
So how
facility.
does that work if a guy comes in so he just got done spreading salt, whatever, comes in, runs through that, how's that gonna affect the back of it through the automatic one? Like, I mean, you're gonna have ice in there, make sure it gets parked inside, and then it's gotta get dried out before you put more salt in it, how's it?
You're talking once the truck leaves?
No, I'm saying like, let's say a guy comes off a beat, comes back, and it's like, okay, I need to wash the truck. Run it through there, like, you're not gonna run that and then go get more salt, you're gonna have to run it, and let it dry out, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yep.
it'll only be at the end of the day, they wash it, and then it gets parked inside with the box up a little bit, so everything can run out and.
Yep.
Get dried out, cause, I mean, you need to dry before you put salt in the next day or sand, right?
Correct.
Okay. So it's not something they're gonna come through, wash it and head back out,
No,
it's gonna have to be.
no. It would be basically before you park it.
Okay.
At the end of the day. And So I did look at Eau Claire's facility. They have a system that basically, you punch a code and it'll tell you what vehicle it is. So it'll program, the wash bay will program based on if it's a pickup truck or a plow truck coming in there. And then they can actually restrict on how many times you wash it. So it's not like an employee can come in there and wash it every day if they wanted to. Like certain things. I mean, you don't want to just sit there and waste water and waste the chemicals in the soap just washing a pickup truck every day, if it needs it or not. But I do know the biggest thing that Eau Claire had issues with, as well as St. Croix, in particular in the winters. Obviously, there's so much moisture in the building, cold air outside.
Mm-hmm.
Doors are opening and closing. They had issues with the doors freezing. So they've gotten a lot more like fans and stuff like that because it would get like foggy in there. So they've learned through the process.
Big benefit.
They also said you have to have heated approach pads in the concrete, otherwise you will have a block of ice on the discharge end in particular.
Yeah, we've seen that up at St. Croix.
So I mean, the floors are heated already, right?
Yes.
You're just saying the approaches after. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing is like even have like a radiant heat above the top, or along the side, I guess it can be right above, but like that, I mean, yeah, there's definitely things that.
You gotta have really good air exchangers, you gotta have fans, you gotta just have that air moving in there. And yes, they are maintenance. It's definitely, you gotta maintain what you have. It's kind of simplistic. I mean, it's just piping that just has nozzles and pressure that sprays. It's no moving parts, which is nice.
So we were talking about cold storage, and then we're talking about that you want to put some like a wash bay in there. There wouldn't be in the same building.
No, they would have to be separate buildings. They could be attached, but
Okay.
they would have to be in a
I was
separate
gonna
building.
say, make sure that we're on the same page there, you know, on that. So,
Yeah, so if we look at trying to put a steel building up, obviously you can't have a steel building for a wash bay. It'd
Right.
just be rusted out in no
Mhm.
time. So that would have to be concrete.
but you almost gotta put up that wash bay before you go with the shop part of it, right?
Well, and that's what, like Randy was saying, we could do things in stages.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that wash bay building could be a standalone building. Does not have to be fixed to a different building.
You gotta plan the future, but yeah, you could do it
Yeah.
if we had to. It's up to
No, I
them.
agree with you. I think that's by far the most important is to get a wash bay.
Agree.
All right, sounds good.
And I did put in here too, is in your packet, is kind of just comparing.
Mhm.
So I took 3 pieces of equipment that have sat outside their entire life. It just kind of showed you the cost of repairs that we've done in the last 10 years. Some of this equipment might be older than 10 years, but I just had Joy run the last 10 years. As you can see, 22 is a tractor, a John Deere tractor. Sits outside its entire life. We spent almost $74,000 in repairs on that tractor. I can't say what it was. I can't say because of the cold that made these repairs the issue. That's hard to do. And obviously you can see we've spent a lot of tires and batteries. So obviously you have this equipment sit outside, you get weather checking tires, you have to constantly put more batteries in it. So we've spent almost $50,000 just in tires and batteries on these 3 pieces of equipment. We got that wheel loader. The big cost on that, obviously, we just spent $5,000 tire just to put tires on that thing. So you got 20 grand invested just in tires on that. But that's normal wear and tear. And then that last one is the grader. We spent about $120,000 just on that grader that sits outside. So just wanted to compare. So we got $300,000 in 3 pieces of equipment over a 10-year lifespan. It gives you a general idea.
I just have one question or comment about the building project or whatever we're calling it. So you guys talk about doing things in stages, makes a lot of sense to me, but I guess my question is that you build a wash bay. Let's say that's phase one, okay? But the issue you're gonna have, obviously, from sometime in November till potentially into April sometime is freezing. Okay, could be longer or shorter than that, we all know that, but it's a fact. So you have to have someplace to go with this equipment after it's washed, where it's in a controlled temperature of some kind, whether it's 45 degrees, if that suffices, or 55 degrees. So you build just a wash bay, obviously you would be bringing the equipment back into this facility for the time being. And we feel that this suffices for that particular task and this particular time. Then the next phase would be could go any direction, I guess, but the next phase would probably be to build more heated storage facility where these vehicles would move from that situation. Okay, just
I guess in a perfect,
want to get on the same page.
We prefer to do both at the same time. I'm just saying,
that's the perfect scenario.
yes, but we have to have options.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean,
I mean,
I'm with Dusty on the, if you can just get a cover over things, sometimes just throwing a tarp over it is huge,
okay.
yeah, and so right now we have our plow trucks are under a roof, typically, the ones that are utilized on a daily basis are under a roof right now in a heated facility.
Yeah.
It's our backup trucks that sit outside.
Yeah.
So we have, I think there's about 6 or 7 backup plow trucks that are
Yeah.
outdoors all winter long. Besides the graders, all the other pieces of equipment that we may not use in the winter, but they sit outside in the winter. The one, obviously, just to think about, obviously, to separate those type of projects, you may see increased costs. That'd be the one downfall if you look at doing one thing first and
Yeah,
second
definitely.
thing second.
Let's keep going.
Say basically about 3 to 5% every year on average. So.
And we talk about doing things in stages, right? Like,
Wow.
it's not necessarily like there's cash available. Right, so we're talking about bonding, which means you're paying for it over 20 years anyway.
Right.
So there's some things about kind of making that work with our current debt service payments. I think we had talked about putting this project in 2027 would increase our debt service above the 5.2 million that we've kind of been sitting at, which is my code for taxes will go up for that. So I think that's something I think as you talk about phasing that out is it's really around that debt service payment.
Right.
And so if you do it all now when it goes up, or if you do a part of it now and a part of it's still will probably have the same impact on the taxes.
And like I said, after this year, we'll know kind of where that AVAC system for the judicial system comes in at. We'll know what we spend. We'll have a lot more idea where we're at after that is complete or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
we just extended the bids by 30 days. So
okay. But anyway, I think, we'll know more where we're financially at, what we can do at that time is the way I look at it. So.
Yep.
All right, sounds good. Financials.
Yeah, so in your packet, financials, for 2025 yet, so top one there is our basically our equipment purchases, our CIP. We kind of had this a discussion about it. So as you can see, we had budgeted 1.5 million. We're looking at just over $1.5 million in Our equipment purchases, for the year, that will be fund balance that pays for that. Now that we have a fund balance, obviously that gets, paid for. So that will be taking place here. The internal service fund, we're looking at a positive balance there, through the month of November. We do not have December on here yet, so, we are projecting a positive balance in our, what we call our 7,100. And then our next page there, we'll be looking at a positive balance, obviously, again, with our road and bridge fund, which is our 2,600 fund. That's all of our construction and maintenance costs. We just transferred the $3 million bonding. That just got transferred into our funds. So obviously we were showing a budget shortfall of approximately $2 million. So that was just transferred in. So, but we will be looking at a positive balance there, just over $1 million is what we're anticipating. As noted before, the one project on County Road C was delayed, so that's a big chunk of it right there. So, any questions regarding the financials?
Just a couple here, you have like a minus. Is that where parts were brought back to
You're looking
Weren't
at,
you?
you're looking at the vouchers?
over here? Yeah,
Yeah, so, yeah, well, those will be the vouchers that
Those are coming up. in a
we'll
second.
discuss.
yeah.
Yep.
All right. Nothing else on the financials, so. Any other questions? Otherwise, Dustin, you're done.
I am.
Oh, all right. Consideration actions. Now highway vouchers. How you vote?
Yeah.
Gary.
So what was that for then? Is that stuff that was brought was blocked, but wasn't needed and taken back then?
That's returns you're seeing.
Okay,
Yes.
because I looked, there's 4 or 5 of them in there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, vouchers, your typical parts, equipment,
Mhm.
materials.
Yeah, because it's all like machinery and equipment parts, so that's what was under.
All adds up.
How's the sand holding out in? Pretty good or with salt sand, you know?
I honestly don't know. We're assuming we have some sitting outside.
Time, otherwise I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers and financials.
Second. Any questions, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Seal coat, aggregate bids.
Yeah, it seems like, this,
It's January. What do
why we're looking at seal coat aggregate. But obviously, the last 2 years, we've been hauling these materials ourselves. So we can get some revenue on our own equipment instead of having a contractor deliver it. So looking at trying to do that again this year. So we sent bid proposals out for seal coat aggregate for our chip sealing operations this summer. So we had 3 companies submit proposals. Haas, Opelt, and Milestone Materials. The material that we've used for, I would beg to say, the last 5-6 years now has come from Haas quarries. It's that FA2 and 2.5 blue granite. We've switched back and forth from each pit. They have a Wozniak pit and an Eisenberger pit over by the Stanley area. They are both within a half mile of each other.
Yeah, they're close.
So like I said, we go where they tell us to go is what we've done in the past. Where the material is. As you can see, Milestone was the low proposal. They did not submit a proposal for delivery. We did request the delivery cost as well as picking it up ourselves. That's what the FOB is. What's that?
That's pea gravel versus the granite.
That is pea gravel. Pea gravel. It's not a granite. So it is also up by the north of Chetek area is where this quarry is. So it is a little bit longer haul. The other issue with this particular operation is we would have to provide our own loader and our own operator to load the materials versus what Haas has. So if you add it up, it would basically be about the same cost, like I say, is what Haas is charging there at the Eisenberger pit there at $17 versus the $13.75. I do believe the blue granite is a far superior product than pea gravel. The darker colored material, I will tell you, has a huge advantage. It gives the road a better longevity. We've had awesome luck with the material. It gives the misconception too that the road's brand new. People think the road's now it's dark colored. Well, now we got a brand new road. I don't want to have smoke screens, but it does help.
I was gonna say, it seems like it adheres to the road.
It does. We've had really good luck.
Fractured granite versus pea grab. I know we did pea gravel, it just seems that's.
We did pea gravel years ago and it just wore off.
Right.
So it's like, do you want to invest in something that's going to wear off right away?
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't seem.
No, I like what we've been using, I'll be honest. I think it seems like it really makes the road look, like you say, it looks new again.
Not that it's a huge deal, but why is it $1 difference if they're that close together?
Supply and demand. I have no idea. I can't say.
And they just tell you where to go. I mean, it seems weird.
So it depends on where they have the material set up.
And where they're hauling it that day there. Yeah. The day we're on haul, basically is what happens. They're not hauling out of both pits every day. So it's whatever they're set up and whatever pit they got using right now. Not talking to Haas.
Yeah. So I guess based on my recommendation, I would say we would accept Haas's proposal based on our cost. Like I said, it's going to be the same cost as the Milestone. If you add in bringing our own loader there, we'd have to haul a loader. We'd have to man it with our own individual. And it's like that gets very difficult when it's kind of sporadic hauling. We haul when we can. We don't haul every day. In between plowing snow, we'll be hauling. So it's like now you got to throw a guy over there. And so the cost difference just in the difference in the distances, if I would beg to say, it'd be about $1.50 a ton. Like I said, if you're adding another our own equipment and stuff there.
Yeah.
So
it's nice just to go when we can go.
I don't necessarily like taking our equipment to private quarries and what happens type of thing. So.
All right, I'll make a motion to go with the Haas groups for our seal coat aggregate for 2026.
I'll second.
Motion been made and second. Any discussion? Any other questions? Otherwise, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 8, there's none. Next meeting, February 11th.
That'd be our normal scheduled time.
Number start at 8 o'clock. No transit that morning, so 8 o'clock. Anything else? Otherwise, we didn't adjourn.
I was actually gonna ask you about the salt and sand.